Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Iori Folani. Now, yesterday, the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, was granted bail. This is, after he had been, a guest of the government, shall we say, for, a long time. He'd been in there for quite a while. The date escapes me. I think it was about 2015 or so. In any case, among the charges preferred against him, conspiracy to commit treasonable felony by allegedly conspiring among themselves, that is he and his co-travelers, to broadcast on Radio Biafra, agitating for the secession of the Republic of Biafra from Nigeria. Then the group was also charged with treasonable felony, improper importation of goods, illegal possession of firearms, and possession and publication of a defamatory statement against the then Major General retired Muhammadu Buhari, now president, calling him, among other things, a terrorist, and a lot of other mentionable things. All of this, has led to the situation that Mr. Nnamdi has been in. But he has now been granted bail. By some accounts, very, very stringent bail conditions. But according to his lawyer, Mr. Ejiofor, he said his client would meet the bail conditions within 48 hours. Quote from an article in the newspaper, "As a leader of a nation, the bail conditions are not too stringent for him. I can assure you that within 48 hours he will meet the bail conditions. People are ready to sign on his behalf." That's according to his lawyer, Mr. Ejiofor. Well, my guests this morning, Ikechukwu Ikeji, is a lawyer and a social commentator. Been quite a while. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Yori,
for having me. My pleasure. And another lawyer, Fred Nzeako, public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on, Fred.
Many thanks. Yori.
Again, it's been quite a while.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, now, Nnamdi Kanu's lawyer is, quite, he's optimistic. No big deal. 48 hours, we're going to be out of there. Give me your impressions. We're moving forward, aren't we? Because for a long while, Mr. Kanu was not granted bail, but now this, whatever has changed, and he has been granted bail. Do you think this is a positive development?
Well, you can say we are moving forward. It's better than yesterday, but this is not the first time he's been granted bail, you recall. And we just want to hope and believe that this time around the government will allow the bail to take effect. And then, because obviously the lawyer said that he will meet those conditions, but those conditions to watchers of the judicial system, we see some of those conditions as extrajudicial, and an importation of something that is very strange in our jurisprudence in this country. Strange in the sense that one of the conditions required that he brings a high-ranking Jewish religious leader.
Yeah.
And then
that is stemming from what he claimed to be his religion.
That he claimed to be a Judaist doesn't mean that he is no longer a Nigerian. What it now means is that if I profess to be a Confucian, if I'm being given bail, I have to go to China to bring a high-ranking Confucian religious leader to come and stand bail for me. Okay. So, I mean, that is an importation that is very alien to our jurisprudence. And I think even though he made those conditions, the court will need to really look at that and then possibly vary that condition, because it's really very, very worrisome. If I'm a Roman Catholic, then which is not indigenous to Nigeria, that means I have to go to Italy to import somebody who will stand surety for me. So I think that aspect of that condition is slightly worrisome. The other aspects that are also worrisome, because giving on the on the right hand and taking away from the left hand is also worrisome. If you ask him, if you gag his freedom of expression and ask him not to grant any interview, that means he cannot even come out openly and say, "Oh, President Buhari is doing very well. Will we please support him?" He is not allowed to say that. No. He cannot come in a crowd of more than 10 people. Yes. That means he cannot even attend a wedding ceremony. He cannot even attend the naming ceremony of his child. Okay. So I think those conditions really really carpet the essence, the whole essence of bail.
Maybe that's the thinking behind the part of the story that says that the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Chief Nia Nwodo, has described the conditions as, quote, unfair and, quote, unconstitutional?
Absolutely. It's the conditions are unconstitutional. The conditions that restrict his being in the presence of in the midst of not more than 10 persons. The condition of not addressing an interview or granting an interview, the condition of not addressing rallies, and the condition, like my colleague has said, of getting a Jew. All of these people, some of the people that were asked for as sureties would have to have 100 million naira bail condition to satisfy that condition. You see, bail must not be seen to be unreasonable and too stringent. I have opposition to the conditions given by the Honorable Justice on two grounds. One, the unreasonability of the bail conditions and the unconstitutionality of the bail conditions.
Fortunately, both of you are lawyers,
yes.
And you know, one understands that among the factors that judges take into consideration will be the seriousness of the charges and all of those kind of things.
Yes.
Do you think that might have...
No, the seriousness of the charges has been taken care of in the fact that she alluded to the fact that it is only because of his health that she granted him bail.
Exactly.
That he is having ailing health condition, and as a result, he needed to take care of himself. That is an allusion to the seriousness of the offense. That is to say that except on serious health grounds or some other serious extenuating circumstances, bail ought not to be ordinarily granted. So that has been taken care of. Moving further and imposing conditions, and I'm not talking about the fact that he is not able to satisfy those conditions. We must separate those two. Being able to satisfy the conditions of the bail is a different thing from the intention behind granting of the bail. In Abacha against the state, we all saw how the judge, the Court of Appeal was very emphatic in saying that if you are granting somebody bail and you put conditions that appear to go against the very fundamental rights of that person, that you are in effect refusing that bail. So bails ought not to be unconstitutional. And I would expect, thankfully, I hear that he has rejected the bail conditions, especially given the fact that his co-accused were not granted bail.
They were not.
Yes, I think I agree with him. He should reject the bail. He should appeal the bail conditions and ask for the bail conditions to be reduced, especially those that restrain him or restrict him from being in the midst of more than 10 people, or from granting interviews, or from addressing rallies. These are fundamental rights. The only thing that can remove those fundamental rights is under Section 45, and those things come under a law that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society for the interest of public safety, public order, and public security. Now, that is a different thing from a court. It is only a law made by the National Assembly that can restrict that right, definitely specified in a written document.
Now, Fred, I imagine Justice Binta Nyako, when she was setting these bail conditions, might have had on her mind, one, the personality that we're dealing with here, a very, charismatic person, has his following, and the original charges including inciting people to agitate for the secession of Biafra and that kind of a thing. In the circumstances, you feel like Ndibu or Haneze that they are unreasonable conditions, because if we're able to, if she didn't put that stricture on, he could just resume what he has never denied in any case and is not apologizing for in any case. As I said, it is his right. But the court decides otherwise. Do you think peace and order might have been topmost on the minds of the judge? They must take these things into consideration when they want to set bail conditions.
In the first instance, the allegations and accusations against Nnamdi Kanu are far-fetched. Far-fetched in the sense that they are not grounded in any basis.
You're talking about the charges
The charges.
The very charges.
Yes, they are not grounded on any basis. One, illegal broadcast does not warrant a treasonable felony. You cannot charge somebody who illegally conducted broadcast. What is illegal broadcast? A broadcast becomes illegal once it does not have the assent of National Broadcasting Commission. That's all. And then it does not ground treasonable charge. Unlawful assembly does not ground intimidation of government and does not ground treason. Trying to secession, he has not done anything untoward in secession. He is only asking for right of self-determination.
Okay.
And it is a right granted.
So
it
that
is,
we can
it is
continue without
fundamental all over the world.
So as to be able to continue without interruption,
Yes.
can I go on a quick break? So come back and then we'll be able to continue. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, Barrister Ikechukwu Ikeji and Fred Nzeako on set, and we're looking at Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, getting bail. Some have said the bail conditions are stringent. Some, Ohaneze Ndigbo has even gone as far as saying that they are unconstitutional. But the seriousness of the charges are what they are. The judge will no doubt have been influenced by that. I imagine in cases like this, where everybody, so very, very many people are interested, want to know what's going to happen. I suppose judges are between a rock and a hard place. They have to be fair to both parties, the defendant and the prosecution.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that, I think, is
Yeah,
one of those
you are
conundrums.
very correct. You see, discussing of a lot of people most times miss the point in fighting for the oppressed. Some of us, we get too carried away with the fact that the oppressed is being oppressed and forget that the so-called oppressor, in quotation, also has some rights that are accrued to him or her. And that goes for the prosecution. The prosecution is also entitled to the same principles of fair hearing that the accused person is entitled to. And so you are right in saying that the judge found herself in between two contending forces, two contending rights, as the case may be. However, there are some universally recognized objective principles of rule of law, and that is substantive rule of law, which is what we call the globally accepted practice, GAP, that was put out by the United Nations in their definition of rule of law. In their definition of rule of law, they said that rule of law must ensure the guaranteeing of individual rights. Guaranteeing of individual rights must supersede every other element or content of rule of law. So in doing this, you will see that there should be a resolution of the contention here in favor of the accused, Nnamdi Kanu, in this circumstance where there are two serious contending forces, because you want to align yourself with the universally accepted definition of rule of law. The other definition of rule of law is formal rule of law. Formal rule of law is whether it protects human rights or not, whether it protects individual rights or not. So long as the law entitles you to do it, you go ahead and do it. So it has nothing to do with individual rights. The third one is the functional rule of law. The functional rule of law is the function to use rule of law to achieve a particular objective. So I think that what the judge has applied now is the functional rule of law, not the substantive rule of law.
Well, interesting, because Fred, I think you both are agreed that bail is one thing, and as Mr. Kanu's lawyer has said, as quoting him now, as a leader of a nation, the bail conditions are not too stringent for him. I can assure you that within 48 hours, he will meet the bail conditions. People are ready to sign on his behalf. Now, you guys have said that even so, that's a separate thing. Being able to meet the conditions and then go for is a separate thing from the propriety of those conditions, in the first place.
Yes. from the propriety of those conditions, from the jurisprudence of those conditions, from the basic meaning of bail. Because what is bail? Bail is a discretionary. The conditions are discretionary according to the court. But what it simply means is come to trial from home. And simple.
And the authority, the judge is going to want to sort of be sure that
you will come back to face your day in court.
And that is where the conditions come from.
That's where
the conditions come from.
Then by the time you now begin to, bail should not create class segregation in the society. When you now begin to create class segregation on account of giving bail conditions, it is not good for the society. You now give a condition that one of the shortees must be a senator. So what it means is that if you don't have a senator who has confidence in you, you will rot in jail. One of the shortees must have landed property in Abuja, worth at least 100 million. How many Nigerians have that in an environment where even if you see 100 million in somebody's account, he has to give an account of how he made that money?
Yeah, but bills are tailor-made to individuals. They wouldn't give those same conditions to someone else.
At the end of the day, you also give a condition that one of the shortees must be a Jewish leader. We have carpeted that condition completely. Even though the accused made such condition, it is completely alien to our jurisprudence.
Now,
it's alien to our judicial system.
Mr. Kanu has rejected the bill's conditions.
He will reject those conditions.
Now what does that mean? From the point of view of the law, does that mean that we continue the way everything was before?
He will approach the court for a variation. He will approach the court for a variation of the bail. And if the court refuses to vary the bail, he has the option of going a step further to appeal those bail conditions. I was trying to build up to a situation where even the charges themselves, I told you that those charges can be called phantom charges. That is my opinion, and I hold.
When the lawyer in speaking that his client was going to meet those conditions in 48 hours or less, when he says as a leader of a nation,
the court has invariably, it is a one.
You're referring to Mr. Kanu as a leader of a nation.
No, not that's his lawyer's opinion.
Yes,
the court has invariably given credence to that by asking him to bring a Jewish leader. The court has invariably given credence that Nnamdi Kanu is a leader of a nation that he claims to draw its inspiration and its descendancy from Jew. So if you now ask him, go and bring a Jewish leader, you are invariably confirming his assertion that Biafra is from Jew and that Biafra does not deserve to be part and parcel of Nigeria. So, the line of thought. So the court, in trying to give those conditions, shot itself in the foot.
Okay, not that
Mr.
Kanu shot himself in the foot by bringing up the old Jewish question.
No, the court shot the political system of Nigeria in the foot by asking Kanu to go and bring a Jewish leader. That means, if I ask you to go and bring a shorty, I cannot ask you to go and bring a shorty from Russia because I know you don't have people in Russia. I ask you to bring shorty from your own people who are credible enough around you. But that is why in most cases they say people who are related to you by blood. If police gives you bail, they say bring, even in court. When the court want to confirm the shorties, they want to find out how related the people are to you.
Okay.
So what it now means is that you are now asking him to bring his relations from Jewish land. And who is a Jew? Either a descendant of Israel or somebody who professes Jewish religion, which is Judaism, which Nnamdi Kanu says he professes. But religion is sentimental and spiritual. It is not physical. The only physical connection with Jew is that of Biafra, which they say descend from Israel. So why are you giving him such shield?
Okay, and that is one way of looking at it.
Yes.
And another way of looking at it is that, maybe simplistically, that bail conditions such as this are all aimed at discouraging a defendant from absconding at the end of the day, in one line. But I'm going to I know you want to say something. You're going to come back to that. Let's take the report that sort of will wrap everything up in a nutshell. Stay with us.
The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, is partially a free man. After continuous agitations by his supporters for his release, they can finally heave a sigh of relief As usual, the converge on the Federal High Court admits a heavy security presence in support of the leader. Among dignitaries in the courtroom to witness the ruling was the governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose. While delivering her ruling for bail, Justice Binta Nyako held that Kanu must produce 3 sureties, including a highly respected and recognized Jewish leader. He must also produce a highly placed person of Igbo extraction, such as a senator, and a highly respected person who is resident and owns landed property in Abuja. As part of his bail conditions, she added that each surety must deposit 100 million naira each. The judge warned that he must not grant any form of interview or attend any form of rally. She added that he must make himself available for trial at all times. His co-defendants, Chidebere Onwudiwe and Benjamin Madubugo, were however denied bail. His counsel said he was certain they would meet the bail conditions and ensure the bail is respected.
Well, the point is that, let me make this clear to everybody and to the whole world. The court has given the conditions for his bail this morning, which we are going to perfect. And we are going to resist every attempt by the federal government to flout this order made by the court this morning. Even to tell mobilizing people to the street, I will do that. And any attempt to flout this order will bring an end to this trial, because we will not subject himself to further trial unless when that order is complied. We will not accept it any longer.
Meanwhile, he was returned to Kuje prison, pending when the bail conditions are perfected.
Okay, stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. And that last clip probably brings back to mind the fact that, well, there weren't any governors of Igbo extraction there, but Governor Fayose of Ekiti State was there. Now, what's that about? What's that about? Well, give me your impressions on that.
Well, I think it's unfortunate on the side of the governors from the Igbo, Igbo extraction. If for nothing, a lot of us do not actually share in Nnamdi Kanu's sentiments. I, for one, I have my own principles, my philosophies with regards to what Nigeria should be. But that notwithstanding, he is a son. He is someone who majority, and I'm using this word very, very carefully, majority of Igbos, the market men and women who are in their teeming millions all across the federation give their support to. They support him with fanaticism. So it is a surprise that no governor from the southeastern states, even as much as released a statement or even showed any form of solidarity, except someone like Fayose. And no matter hate him or like him, I think you have to give it to him that he has shown courage in the face of his convictions. Okay. And that's what makes a man.
Waiting to join the conversation is Sadiq. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Okwiri.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning to the two gentlemen in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Okwiri, the bail conditions granted to given to Nnamdi Kanu, I think they are not strange to him. I'm sure it's something he can, for the conditions he can meet. Because, number one, he has many senators agitating for his release in the Senate. So this is something of it's a challenge to the senators, one of the senators, to walk up and say, yes, it's going to be one of his shorties. Secondly, the same Nnamdi Kanu claimed he's a Jew. And that is his constitutional right. So you have no right to deny him that. And the court says, go and get a Jewish leader to be your second shorty. So I think it's not a problem. Sadly, Fayose can stand in as the third person since he has there, and he has said it categorically that even Ekiti State is part of the IPOB. So I think it's not a problem. And for the judge telling him not to attend any rally or any gathering like more than 10 people, he was granted bail based on health conditions. So if you feel you're hale and healthy, then go back to your prison and continue all this thing. And if you're not hale and healthy, then you stay away from any set of congregation to avoid any doubt or any doubt in the judiciary. So I think it's normal to me.
Indeed.
So that's just my little contribution.
Thank you very much for calling in, Sadiq. And his lawyer too feels the same way.
Yes.
This is not a big deal.
Yes, Mr. Ayori.
Kanu will get
Mr. Ayori, you see,
all those conditions
what
satisfied.
this bail condition has shown is that indeed the court believes that Kanu, in mobilizing followers, is causing public disorder. Now, all Kanu has is his mouth. All his followers have are their chantings. That goes to show that the court itself is already believing that Kanu's conduct.
The mind, you said the mouth.
Yes.
But here, arguably, Mr. Kanu is battling for the mindsets of his followers.
Absolutely.
And people are well aware of that. And in the matters of bail, I would suggest for you lawyers to consider one size doesn't fit all. And so it will be varied. The principle must flow through, but one size doesn't fit all.
There must be some basic fundamental principles in granting bail, because the law sees every citizen as being equal before the law. If the court no longer sees every citizen as being equal to the law, then that becomes dangerous for the system.
Sir, is it not a bit like taxation now? The government will tax
based on your
a billionaire differently from the way he will tax. They will tax somebody on a minimum wage.
Taxation has to do with financial and fiduciary issues.
No, I just use it as a very broad kind of.
No, they are not related at all. The issue of bail has to do with.
I was making the point that one size doesn't fit all.
The issue of bail has to do with rights of the citizen as individuals.
And there's a principle.
And there's a principle.
And that principle cannot be varied.
And that principle is that you come to court to face your day in court. Well, and then for two reasons. One, if the bail was given on the ground of ill health, right? The court does not know the nature of ill health. Somebody was raising some...
The judge said she expects a weekly report of his...
A monthly report.
Monthly progress report.
Monthly progress report by himself of how he's faring. Fine. How did the court infer that going to crowd will affect his health? How did the court know that?
Okay, okay. I see what you're doing as a lawyer. You're going back to the main premise. I mean,
so how did
the main pillar
how did the court now use,
on health grounds.
If the court gave bail on health ground, was the court also medically competent to determine the nature of ailment?
Even if the court...
because we are not aware that medical experts have been called upon to advise the court, so that the court now reasoned that going to a crowd will invariably adversely affect his health.
Let me come back and put my unlearned opinion on that one. But in the meantime, let me go ask Mr. Zakari. First of all, sorry for keeping you waiting. Go ahead now, sir. Mr.
Hello?
Zakari, Benin City.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Zakari.
Yes.
Go ahead now. Go ahead, please.
Honestly, on a very serious note, we have to give... Hello, are you hearing me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, I said on a very serious note, we have to give kudos to Governor Ayoche. He has really shown that... he has really shown that he's a man...
Don't listen to yourself. Just continue.
He's a man to reckon with. What he did yesterday, you can imagine a man who is a Yoruba man, came to the court to identify with an Igbo person.
Okay then, thank you very much, Mr. Zakari. I think there's a delay and you are being distracted by the fact that you hear what you said a few seconds ago.
But it's very important, Yori, to also add that Osta Chidoka was there. So it's not as if IFH was there alone. Osta Chidoka,
he just told the
Osta Chidoka as a former minister and a gubernatorial contender in Anambra State can easily be ranked among the class of governors. So let us not completely say it's only Ayo. Fine. Ayo being there is very good for Nigerian polity. It shows a cross-border intercourse among all the ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. And that is very, very much encouraged.
No matter the subject matter.
Yes, no matter the subject matter. Femi Fani-Kayode too was there.
Yes.
And then there are a host of people who, even though we are not aware that the matter was coming up yesterday, but they are within Nnamdi Kanu in flesh and blood, in spirit and in life, in going through all his travail. And then first just said, without missing words, that he had to identify with him because he felt here is a Nigerian that is being oppressed.
Yes. Okay, Kayode Ojo, Mr. Kayode Ojo in Surulere, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Okuyori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yes. Please, I want to ask one question. If I declare a republic under a republic, so have I not committed a sin? If I eventually declare a republic under a republic, have I not committed a sin under the constitution of Nigeria?
A crime. Crime. Not sin, crime.
Okay, crime. Number two, if tomorrow a Igbo is emerged as a president, and I declare a republic of Judea, that is Oduduwa, Judea, so am I not going to be charged to commit a crime? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is indeed what the court will have to decide on.
But can I very quickly give him a very short answer to that?
Okay.
Very quickly. Nnamdi Kanu has not declared a republic under a republic. The IPOB people have not declared any republic under Nigerian Federal Republic. They are asking that they be allowed, mark it, people should understand it, that they be allowed to leave the Nigerian state because they are not well treated in the Nigerian state.
Okay.
They are massively marginalized by the Nigerian state. Please, if you don't want us, can you allow us to be on our own? That is the right of self-determination. If it were in Nigeria, people, if you extend that argument, that means that those who were asking for Brexit, that Britain should exit from the European Union, should be charged for treason as well.
Okay. Mr. Usman in Abuja, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, thank you. Another discussion you are discussing there. Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Yeah, you see, on the bail of Nnamdi Kanu, I'm a little bit confused that they need a Jewish someone to stand for him. I believe that Kanu is not a Nigerian by citizenship or by birth. He's a Jewish. That is number one question. Number two, I think the presence of Fayoshe and Fani-Kayode and so like that is nothing but a political charade. Their appearance was simply to spite the government because everything against the government, they will go for it. So it's not as if they went there for solidarity or they went there because they loved Nnamdi Kanu. No, they just went there just because they want to spite the federal government. That is just the basic reason of them being there. You can imagine these are the same crop of people that are attempting to steal money that does not belong to them, claiming that the money belongs to somebody. You see, so you can see the kind of people they are. So we should leave them where they belong to. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. Different strokes for different folks. But the point also has to be made that it's not as if what Mr. Kanu is fighting for on behalf of, as he would put it, his people.
Yes.
Now, those that would fall ordinarily under that definition of his people are not unanimous in support at all.
Absolutely. Yori, thank you so much for raising this point. And that is a point that should not be lost on Nigerians. I have made this point severally, that we will be surprised, Nigerians will be surprised, if you give an opportunity to the Igbo-speaking states of Nigeria to go on a referendum as it were, or to make a plebiscite, or to vote on whether they want to leave Nigeria or not. They will be surprised that there will be a more no vote than a yes vote. They will be surprised. But because of the noise...
That's the way you reckon.
That's what I reckon, because there are a whole lot of other people, intelligentsia, members of the elite group, who also have a different understanding of how to live as a country or as a nation.
Indeed.
Either within Nigeria or outside of Nigeria or in a different kind of setting of Nigeria.
But this is without prejudice to the fact that even those people that we're talking about, that will fall under the purview of his people, they have no, it's like the fairness of it all, his rights, they don't want any of that breached, but they might not agree in principle with what he's saying.
Now that is where someone like me fits in.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. George, who's been waiting on the line. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, I'm taken aback by some of the statements Mr. Nzako and his colleague are making there. Mr. Nzako says that Mr. Kanu has not done anything untoward, and that making a broadcast without a broadcasting license is not a serious crime. Is he saying that to declare that he does not, Nigeria is a zoo, and that by inciting people through that radio broadcast to stay away from it and organize protests along streets where people are dying is not a crime? The two guests are presupposing that the crime that Kanu committed is not treasonable, which should not ordinarily attract bail. And the conditions that have been given for this bail have been given in some other cases before. So what are they talking about? Okoyeri, one thing is very clear to me now. There are some people that are tacitly supporting what Kanu is doing for political reasons. Just because somebody that they do not like has won an election.
Yeah.
Now, I must say something. Truth must be told, Uncle Yori. If our Igbo brothers and sisters want to be one day president of this country, they cannot do it with this current attitude. You hate the Yorubas, you hate the Hausas, and you want to become the president of this country. It's not possible unless that attitude changes. I'm very, very surprised at the statement these two gentlemen are making.
Yeah, but I'm not sure Mr. Kanu is interested in the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
He is separate. He has declared or wants to declare a separate republic from Nigeria, which is secessionist.
Okay.
And is that not a crime under our constitution?
All right then. Thank you very much. These are the charges.
I think the last caller spoke out of crass lack of understanding of the picture, and then out of crass emotion and sentiments.
But he dealt with the facts.
No. I mean,
he dealt with the facts.
No, where are the facts? If he understood the facts, he wouldn't have said that Nnamdi Kanu was declaring a republic.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you so that I don't interrupt you. Let me go on this commercial break, and I'll come straight back to you to rebut some of the things Mr. George might have said. Stay with us, please. Welcome back, and we're looking at Mr. Nnamdi Kanu getting bail. His lawyer he says no problems, we'll be perfecting the conditions within 48 hours. He said that yesterday, so half time has gone by. But Mr. George, one of our regular viewers, called in and gave his impressions, and there's a difference of opinion between what Mr. George said and what you believe in studio. Now, I wanted to ask you, because of clarity,
yes,
when you intend to secede and campaign to secede from a country, is that not an offense?
It's not an offense if you are not well treated in a country for no fault or cause of yours.
Who's going to determine that?
If you are not well treated,
who will determine that?
I'm coming. I mean, if you are not well treated, you know whether you are well treated or not. We fought a war, a war that was not inevitable. A war that was fought brutally for 3 years and then caused by certain issues. 40 something years down the line, those issues are still there. And then nobody wants to sit down and address those issues. Now the people now feel, you don't make us part of this entity called Nigeria. Allow us to go.
Who is the us?
When you say
who is the us?
Not everybody will want to stand with Nnamdi Kanu. Even in Britain, when Britain wanted to leave Europe, not everybody supported the Brexit.
Perhaps even the majority
of the people
are not standing with him.
I'm coming.
Perhaps.
Why is government treating it this way? Government has two options. Okay. One, don't make a hero out of Nnamdi Kanu. If he conducted an illegal broadcast, try him on that basis and don't go and bring in terrorism, bring in treason, bring in treasonable felony and the rest of them just to keep you in the gulag for ages. No, you make a hero out of him. When Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015...
You're making all those serious charges sound like spurious, like spurious charges.
The issue of...
You're making them sound like spurious charges.
There was charges of terrorism and that has been struck off in the judgment given in January.
Okay.
Now there is that of treason, and then when government begins to look at issue that is not treasonable and make it treasonable, that does not help adjudication.
Okay, Ikechuku, I'm going to come to you, but I'm sorry,
okay,
sir, but I'm going to come to you, Ikechuku, but Mr. Adisa from Ikorodu has been holding on for yonks. Good morning, Mr. Adisa. Are you still there?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you very much for holding on. Please go ahead,
Good
sir.
morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Judge, the last speaker spoke very, very well. And I'm sure he's also an Igbo man.
No, it's not.
No, I doubt it.
It's not.
Whether he is or not, the truth is that the two gentlemen there are sentimentally Igbo.
No, they're not sentimentally Igbo. They are thorough, proper, bona fide Igbo.
You can't take it away from me.
Yes. No, they're not sentimental. They're genuinely original Igbo.
See, if somebody commits a crime, it does not matter which ethnic group that person is coming from. And Fred has to understand one thing. Whatever happens in the past is past. Let us face the future. There is no way the Igbos will continue to make reference to the Civil War and you want to move the nation forward. It is not only the Igbos that died during the Civil War. You may have the larger number, but there were other Hausas, Yorubas, thieves, everybody. But that was in the past.
Okay.
Let us move forward.
Okay.
This idea of that.
Mr. Adisa, thank you very much. But a sentence you put in there, when someone commits a crime, I guess that's for the court to determine whether a crime has been committed.
Or not.
As these things go. You know, it doesn't matter what you think you know. Since we have to play with the rules, that is the charge.
It's still an allegation.
That's the charge of the prosecution, that an offense has been committed. Yes. It is now for the defense lawyer to do his best to throw that out.
Thank you, Mr. Ayori, so much. You see, you have corrected him and the penultimate caller, Mr. George. In their mindset, Nnamdi Kanu has already committed an offense. And that is against the law, the spirit and letter of the Nigerian Constitution. Everybody is deemed innocent until a court of law pronounces him or her guilty.
Sorry, sir, I've been around lawyers enough
to know.
Not claiming to be a lawyer by any way, shape, or form. But the court has not prejudged the matter. In fact, the court seems to me, from what I've learned from being around lawyers, that there still is the benefit of doubt because this hasn't been concluded yet.
Absolutely.
Therefore, go. But under these stringent conditions, because you're not a nobody.
Absolutely. You're correct. So these callers should come from that perspective to say that this man, let us assume that the man is their own brothers, their own sibling, their own blood brother. Would they start convicting their own blood brother from their bedrooms, from their sitting rooms, that my brother is a criminal, he has committed a crime, for coming and saying that my people, I want my people to go, but like the Israelites were asking the Egyptians. Yes. Now Scotland has...
But there is no conviction here. You threw in the word conviction. I've just taken it out. You know.
No, they are saying that they already convicted him.
But you are using it too, that you can't convict from your bedroom.
Yes,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay,
they are convicting him.
Yes. Convicting court.
They are already convicting him.
Mazi Okoroafo. Good morning, sir. In Abia.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Honestly speaking, sir, I thank you for bringing this topic this morning. I stand in Nigerian court. The only thing I thought, I want us to have peace, unity, and let us move forward, irrespective of this. But I was expecting the court to give all conditions that go without all these threats. That we must do this. Because there is a situation whereby we want peace to move in this country. We should embrace everybody. There is nobody that does not commit a sin. We ask God for forgiveness. That is because when you forgive yourself, you forgive one another, you move forward. Let us not carry grudges against us. This man is people. It will not help us. Nigeria is one. Let us move forward. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day in Lagos. Comrade Man, this Patinographer is my name from Arutu here in Abia State.
Thank you.
Quickly, Mr. Ayori, you see, no matter how well you are treated, because some people, like my friend, will say, he's very correct, that yes, that you've not been treated well. In point of fact, would you rightfully say that Scottish people in Britain have not been treated well? But they are today agitating for a separate state of Scotland.
Scotland.
Would you rightfully say that the Barcelona people in Spain,
in the Balkans,
yes, that they are not being properly treated well in Spain? No. So it is not just about how well treated you are. Yes, how well treated you are is a factor. But even while you are well treated, you still reserve a right, a fundamental right guaranteed under United Nations Declaration of Human Rights and African Charter on Peoples and Human Rights. That is a law operating in Nigeria today, that you have a right to self-determination. So even while and when you are well treated in your home, you can still decide that you want to stay separately from a particular state. But Mr. Yori, we also have to...
So far as you are lawful
about the
processes.
That is where I wanted to come in.
Let me quickly bring in our last caller on this very, very active topic. Sam Olisa. Mr. Olisa is in Ikorodu. Good morning, sir. Mr. Olisa.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sam.
Yes, I want to contribute to this program.
Go ahead, please.
I think Nnamdi Kanu is only granted bail or head grounds. The two speakers in the House will try their best, but I'm really surprised that they are saying that Nnamdi Kanu did not commit crime. Somebody who established a radio station instigating people. So if he didn't do that, he would not be arrested. Let us put sentiments aside. I know that there are other Igbo men, other people that are clamoring for the independence of their state. Were they arrested? But he went ahead to establish a radio station instigating other people. There was a time the bridge, Onitsha Bridge, they blocked it as a result of his instigation. So it's not necessary to come here and begin to look at the past. That the people, my friend Izako, he said that the people that said that they have been wrong. I don't think there's anybody that has not been wrong in this country. We will solve that problem by violence. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. We've run out of time, but I think for the purposes of this conversation, we have to stay on the straight and narrow of the courts will determine if Mr. Kanu has committed a crime, no matter what else we think. This is just the way it works, the law. And since...
Absolutely. And then the issue of violence, I wanted to come there. There have not been any record of violence on the side of these people.
Okay.
They have not been so.
Okay.
And then if they are agitating that they be given a separate state, why is government not throwing the thing open to referendum? My friend Ikechuku said that if it is thrown open to referendum, that it is possible that majority of the people will say, let us remain in Nigeria. So why is government shying away from it?
Okay.
The most civilized way to handle issues like that is to be civil about it, throw it into a referendum, and not to pick somebody or some people up and lock them up permanently, and you said you want to shut them up. You're only making them heroes, not only in Nigeria, all over the world.
Or the only way to handle this, you could say alternatively, is by the rule of law.
By the rule of law.
Substantive rule of law.
Substantive rule of law.
Okay, substantive. Yes. There are all sorts of rule of law. We've run out of time, unfortunately.
Yes.
There's so much more that can be said about this, but Mr. Ikechuku Ikeji and barristers both, Ikechuku Ikeji and Fred Nzeako, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much for having
your
us.
perspectives. We'll be back tomorrow, God willing, for a fresh edition of the program. I'm Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.